What's this? Clad in hues of green, amid shrubs he sees a board slave.
Let me tell you about the woman who fell from the sky.
Ah, you've told that story.
I heard you saw something interesting.
As clearly as I see you. Amazing. I look into the sky. But wait, you must buy a fellow a drink for such a story.
Well, you shut it already. We could all recite this bullshit now.
I'm a client and I'll say what I want. Pour me some Mahakaman mead and no cheating. This noble wayfarer will pay.
I'm not about to buy a pig in a poke.
Not a pig, but a beautiful woman. And not in a poke, in the sky. You won't regret it.
Innkeeper, you said you could recite the story. Tell me.
If you pay for 2 bottles of mead, this drunkard guzzled.
The innkeeper's too dumb to tell such a beautiful story.
I'll pay, but if you bore me, I'll shove this mead up your ass.
There's such a fine liquor. And my ass has no taste. You won't regret it.
Speak.
Last week I was passing by the gullies. I like to take a hike from time to time.
Get to the point.
Hush. So I'm walking and suddenly there's a flash. A crack. I'm thinking, a storm's coming. But nary a cloud in the sky.
You hit the ground with your arse so hard you saw a flash. You were that drunk.
Then I saw people lying in a gully as if they'd fallen from the sky. A man and a woman. The woman was so beautiful, I wished she'd fallen down on me.
What did the woman look like?
A redhead, wearing a vest and high shoes, with pert tits and a round arse. Just waiting to be grabbed and...
Sounds just like your old lady.
Shut your mouth!
What happened then?
Well, the woman was hurting, couldn't get up. The man clearly disliked her, because he didn't help her. He just stood there, menacing and talking, and then he left. And the redhead stayed.
Noticed her tits, but didn't even try to help her, you sod.
I was about to do exactly that when a troll came out of the gully. Ugly as shit after blueberries.
Did it attack her?
Not at all. I hid and saw everything. First he sniffed her, so I thought he'd eat her. But he didn't. He threw her over his shoulder like a sack and returned to the gullies.
Is that all?
Yes. Didn't waste your money, as you'll agree.
How can I help you?
I'm looking for places steeped in magic. You remember any stories of sorcerers or magical places in the area?
Not counting the fire-spitting bits from 3 years ago. Well, a sorcerer once lived in the wood beyond Vergen. You could look there. Maybe something's left. You might also speak to Cecil. Nobody knows Vergen's history as well as our alderman.
There goes the piece, eh? Read it!
Waste of words.
Strangers, more strangers!
You associate with sorceresses?
That witcher, who's he?
He travels the lands.
Where's he got those
Sorcerers mutated.
And there goes my trade with Kedwin.
The mine's safe again. Any plans to do something with it?
Course! Soon as the battle's done, we'll resume digging. Shame to let those rich deposits go to waste. My uncle says they'll put Vergen right back on his feet. Zoltan's talking about a shared enterprise or some such. He's to manage operations with my uncle as general overseer. We just gots to save the town first.
What'll you do when the battle rolls around?
I'll be right out front fighting. Uncle Cecil's allowed it. Says I'm an adult. I'm gonna kick some kid when he asks.
No fears?
Of what? My uncle believes I can do it, and Yarpen taught me how to swing an axe with follow-through. I'll smash a few heads, then go to the tavern and drink till I drop.
Battles are unpredictable, and this'll be your first. You'll have to kill, wade through piles of bloody corpses, all the while watching you don't get cut down yourself. Sure you're ready for this?
To tell the truth, I'm shitting myself a bit. Straw dummies. That's all I've swung at so far. When I think on what's going to happen here. But, all for one and one for all, right? Just don't tell my uncle, please. He's thrashed me a few times already for talk like that.
I won't say a word. Is Cecil your guardian?
Aye. Ever since my parents passed on. He took me in, fed me, taught me a profession and how to live, really.
How did your parents die?
During one of the massacres Demavend arranged for us. But I'd rather not talk of that.
Sure, sorry. I'm looking for places near Vergen where magic would be strong. Somewhere a sorcerer might have stayed.
Let me think. Verfrin, a summoner of elementals, once lived in the wood beyond Vergen. They say his creatures excavated the entire southern wall. You could also search the nearby ruins and abandoned crypts. If boulders with arms and legs aren't magic, then I don't know what is.
Hey, Scaelan, wanna arm wrestle?
I really like to wrestle, but
No buts. You either wanna wrestle or not.
you know there's no one to match me in Vergen.
It's not the contest of the century, I just want to test you.
Steady on! I've got conditions. First, you have to beat Yarpen and Sheldon. You may have beaten Dopey and Sneezy, but don't expect me to be such a pushover.
Show me what you're made of.
Alright. Want to take me on?
Show me what you're made of.
Throw a rock no matter the direction of the rock hits. That's how it is these days. Mages have descended from their towers and installed themselves at court. Men, even worse, sorcerers. Did I mention some? Got to hand it to the hags.
I believe I'd split a rock with my dick sooner than I'd beat you at arm wrestling.
I guess that makes me the new champion of Vergen.
No shame in losing to the White Wolf. Though there's one who could still be a match for you.
Who?
The mighty Numa. I wrestled him in Kovir. Couldn't move my arm for the next week. They say he don't play fair. But that's just losers talking. You ever wrestle him? Give him my regards.
I will.
Sabrina Glevesig used to pound the table with her fist.
consider Scoia'tael humbled.
Always told the old fart he was shite. You're a good sort, Gert. Here's a rune stone from the company to improve your weapons with.
Like these balls!
I taught Scoia'tael a lesson.
Jabim
Heard his joints crack.
probably already has a compress of firm young tits on his arm. In any case, I'm grateful and want you to have this rune stone.
He's one who can...
Regards!
I had a dream. We were mining up the field.
Saskia needs help, Cecil. Philippa can produce an antidote, but she needs a magic artifact to do that.
Would you like a fern and a dancing worm to go with it? Listen, I don't know about magic, but there is a place, as long as I can remember, it's been of interest to sorcerers. They say it's a very strong intersection. Look for magic there.
Where exactly is there?
Seek out the ruins in the forest beyond Vergen. There's a place of power there. You can't miss it. Why so glum? Saskia's a tough girl. She'll bounce back. Keep your head up.
Thanks, Cecil.
No, Witcher. I thank you. Save that lass, and you'll save my town.
Cecil, do you know anyone who fought in the war 3 years ago?
I did.
Did you fight here at Vergen?
Course.
Philippa claims you know a bit about the battle.
That old cook insult, called king by some, thought that Aedirnians were bumpkins who'd ship bricks as soon as his troops crossed the river.
Why did he attack Aedirn?
According to Henselt, Upper Aedirn is the ancient legacy of the Kedweni crown, and must be returned to the mother country. Brazen farter.
That brazen farter had a point. If you read some history, you'll know that 300 years ago this land belonged to Kedwen.
Load of crab. 700 years ago, the elves reigned here. And 1,000,000 years ago, these lands were the domain of the worms. If things worked that way, every king could invade a neighboring land and claim his right to do so because an ancestor took a dump there.
All right. Hensel wanted to conquer Upper Aedirn. What then?
He rolled in, got hammered, and rolled out.
Cecil, that doesn't help me much.
It wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter. If I try speaking of it, I'll see it all again. I don't want...
The ghosts of the fallen fight in the mist. They turn into horrible creatures called Draugrs. Aedirnians, Kedweni, men, elves, and dwarves too.
Bloody hell. No peace even after death.
I want to help them, but I need to know more about the battle.
Very well. Listen. A beautiful day that grew hot later. Very hot. When Van de Grift attacked in the afternoon, he sent the Dun banner at the fore. Many of our lads shit themselves at the mere sight of their standard, but we had a surprise of our own. Under the cover of night, we prepared fire pits. Our archers lit them up at the right moment. I still can't believe we managed to fool their scouts. If it wasn't for that ambush, we wouldn't be speaking today. They likely wouldn't be in Upper Aedirn at all. We decimated the Dun banner, but that was only the beginning. Seltkirk was our commander. Everywhere he appeared, the Kedwenis gave ground. He wreaked havoc among them. Hearts rose at the mere sight of his armor. Then, Van de Grift himself entered the fray. Seltkirk met him in the middle of the field. In the end, Van de Grift killed Seltkirk. A terrible death that sent the Aedirnian ranks into disarray. I thought it was the end of us. Then the sky fell, as if the stars themselves had decided to avenge the death of a great knight. Fire covered the battlefield. Nobody sought the enemy. They were all looking for somewhere to flee. Yes, they were no more friends and enemies, only the living and the dead. They say it was the doing of a Kidweni sorceress who wanted revenge on Vandegrift. Could be true, as Henselt had her executed right after the battle.
Remember anything from before the battle?
As if it was yesterday. Henselt's troops crossed the Pointar the third day after the autumn equinox. Edirn had good spies, so we were ready for them, and Seltkirk lined up our troops along the hills. Our hearts rose at the sight of the banners of Vengerberg, Aldersberg and Gullet fluttering in the wind. Knights and armoured infantry side by side in our ranks. Even the peasants had their regiments. The dwarves were on the left flank. Over 5,000 strong we were. Nobody caring about race or background, like never before. Only King Demavend was missing, but he must have had more important business than defending his country.
You saw the Kidwenis cross the river?
From afar. I saw Vandegrift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarrig. The Dun banner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Adernian land, Vandegrift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Seltkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a Kidweni arbalist would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Seltkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
You captured the Dun Banner standard?
Henselt's choice troops, and not a one survived. The visitor sent them to their deaths, refused to give them reinforcements. He was a monster in human form. The men of the Dun were real swaggerers. Killed a lot of our lads, but for every Dunner, there were 7 Adernians. They had no chance. Aye, we captured their standard. We buried what was left of them in the crypts beyond Vergen. Their standard lies with them. Worthy foes are to be respected, even in death.
I'm going to need that standard. Did you see the duel between Seltkirk and Vandegrift?
I stood half a furlong from them. Never seen a fight like it. Probably never will again. They'd already met once, at a jousting tournament in Ardcarrig. Seltkirk won there. He beat on the visitor so hard he broke his sword. Seltkirk was a true knight, the last of his breed. Vandegrift was so pissed off after that tournament he hanged the smith who made his sword and ordered a special one from a sorcerer. I bet he cut down Seltkirk with that new sword.
Vandegrift is dead. What happened to his sword?
Saskia's got it. Good thing too. Only her hand can tame the hatred enchanted in that sword. After the battle, when the flames abated, the scavengers came. They stole everything. Imagine, not a single keepsake or Seltkirk in the whole of Edirn. His brother babbles something about a gauntlet, but he's a lying dog.
Thanks, Cecil, that was helpful. I think I know what I need to lift the curse now.
Madame Eilhard claims you need 4 symbols. The standard symbolizes death. Vandegrift's sword stands for hatred. What about the other 2?
I have a feeling Philippa has a handle on the rest.
Here's hoping you're right.